Nat Sherman is the leading American luxury brand in premium cigars. From the classic range of the Metropolitan and Host selections to the transformative Timeless collection, their elegant Sterling and limited edition offerings, or the bold and commemorative 1930 blend and Epoca, everyone has the opportunity to enjoy a Nat Sherman experience. Family owned and operated since 1930, Nat Sherman's tradition of innovation and commitment to excellence reminds us why America's Nat Sherman brand is known as tobacconist to the world. Hey everybody, this is Brandon with Love to Hate, Kiefer for Perez, and Cigars in Cinema. Got a question to ask you. Are you a fan of horror movies? Do you like to be scared? Is Halloween your thing? If you've answered yes to any of those questions, there's something you got to do. Texas Frightmare Weekend is coming May 5th, 6th, and 7th in DFW. Tickets are available at TexasFrightmareWeekend.com. Go check it out. The list of people that they have coming to this event gets more impressive every year. There's great photo ops, a lot of great vendors. Be there. It's going to be a killer event. Love to Hate, the podcast that asks the question, what do you love to hate?
You are a smelly pirate hooker. And I hate your ass face!
Do you love it?
No!
Do you hate it?
Oh, yeah. Yes! You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard! I fart in your general direction!
No more foreplay.
Hey kids, it's Monday, so you know what that means? It's time for another edition of Love to Hate. I'm Philip Fullman.
And I am Brandon Luna.
So, Brandon, did you get your taxes done?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, man.
Got my daughter's done.
They're going to come for you.
We still got 10 days, 5 to 7 days, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know I need to get mine done too.
You haven't done yours either?
No.
Oh.
No, this is the first time in 12 years.
Yeah?
Married, but filing separate.
Ah.
And then next year will be filed
Single.
separate on my, single.
Yeah.
So that'll be totally different.
Wow.
So I haven't done them in a while. It's all been TurboTax. And the last time I did it, I think I went to H&R Block. And it's like, I think I was, it's been a while.
Taxes are a pain in the ass.
They are.
And they get more complicated as you get older, unfortunately.
Taxes.
Thank you, Prince John.
My favorite my favorite Robin Hood, my favorite Disney movie of all time.
Love that movie.
It's great.
It is greatness.
So, and you know what? Let me just say this. People always talk about the Robin Hood plan, that it's rob from the rich and give to the poor. It's incorrect. Robin Hood stole from an oppressive, overtaxing government and gave the money back to the citizens who paid the tax.
Right.
So, just put that out there. There's certain things you got to pay taxes. There's certain things you got to have. But a lot of it, you start looking around, it's like, what am I getting for this? Can you send me an itemized list of exactly what I'm paying for?
Right. Yeah, there's no such thing.
No. So you don't really know. There's a lot of things I'm happy to pay for the fact that when I call 911, there's somebody on the other end, and they are either going to send, a cop or a firefighter to my house to do whatever.
Right.
I need that. I want to know that's there. Public Works. But then you get into all these boondoggles and all this bullshit, and it's like, where's this money going?
Right.
So, then I kind of resent starting to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And here in Texas, it's really, we bitch a lot. We don't have a state income tax.
No, we don't.
And a lot of people do, and they have more reason to complain than we do, but still that federal income tax, that's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But the people who have state tax typically don't have sales tax, so there's
there's
a
that.
give and take on that. you know? But taxes have just been a pain in my ass for years, especially being a small business owner, doing my own thing with 1099 and everything. It gets to be really, really complicated. It can definitely be a process that you don't want to handle on your own. And what sucks about it is you're already paying these taxes to the government. Now you got to pay someone else to do your taxes. And they're going to take their piece on top of that. So it's just a nonstop money grab, really, is what it is.
Yeah,
and like you said, for what?
Right. And when you get money back, everybody's excited, like, hey, I got a refund. It's like you realize this means the government had your money for the majority of the year, made interest on it, and you didn't have it.
Yeah.
Ideally, if we could all figure out our tax base, or our tax percentage, we could just get that money out of our paycheck, set it aside, earn interest on it, and then come tax time when it's like, hey, you owe this much, be like, fine, here it is, and you know what? I made money off my money.
Right. And I think people in the past,
we-
probably in the 60s or 50s, probably did that.
Yeah.
Money was more a part of the culture, and I guess managing your money was more a part of the
Sure,
culture
sure.
then, because you didn't have, credit as much then. When you
Right.
bought something, you saved up and you bought it with cash. And we're very much in a credit lifestyle now, so it's not that way. So people just think money grows on trees. They spend, whatever they want to spend whenever they want to spend it, and then tax time they panic. And that's just the way it goes now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Sucks, but true. So
Yeah, and I'm not in one of those brackets where I'm paying an astronomical percentage of my income.
Mm-hmm.
And this, of course, this is every 4 years or every 2 years. Whenever somebody's running for office, the big thing that comes up is taxes.
Right.
That's always going to, cut my taxes, do this with my taxes, do that with my taxes.
Right.
And again, I get why you need them, but there's a part of me that's like, how much of this could we actually cut? How much of this is actually necessary, and how much of this is you just spending on stupid shit?
Right.
Because I really think there's a lot of that in there.
Yeah. Like, how much does the government pay for pens? You look at that,
Right.
you hear those stories every once in a while, like, oh, they paid, $9,000 for a hammer.
Well,
it's like,
and then you get to the point of, okay, I'm paying taxes in Texas so that somebody in Illinois can get stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Well, but they don't, but they don't have that same amount of money in Illinois to get this. Well, it's not my fault.
right.
It's like I kind of get it, but you're taking it then out of that local area. What if you kept the Texas money in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would have more, but we also have a lot more people, and business is strong here. So
Right. So
this
because
whole we're all chipping into the big pie, so everybody gets a part of it.
Right. So because we don't have state tax, there's other places we get taxed, like sales tax and whatnot. You buy a house, you pay city tax.
Right.
And a lot of people complain about where that goes. So a lot of homeowners, and this has happened, I think, more recently than in the past. In the past, it was just, okay, we had taxes. No, you didn't really care where it went or what it was for. Nowadays, people tend to break things down. There's more information out there because of the internet. And people get mad that, they're having to pay for school tax when they don't have kids. It's like, I live here. I don't have kids. Why am I paying for that school to
I kind of get that
shares
because
and
when
whatnot?
before I had kids, I was one of those guys. And even having kids, I was like, well, why somebody else got to pay for this if they don't have kids? And I read it was just a nice rebuttal to it. It was like, I don't mind paying school taxes because I don't want to live with stupid people.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's fair.
yeah.
Not that, by sending your kid to school, you're not going to grow up to be a stupid person. But I get that. You want to live in an educated area because they're going to give back
Yeah.
to the community.
Correct.
So I kind of understand that. But then the school screws you with all these other fees and bullshit.
Right.
So I'm kind of okay with that. But again, nobody can show you where your taxes have gone.
True.
And it's like, how much of this am I actually using?
Then you have the whole illegal aspect of it, too. The people that are living here and not paying taxes. So we're being penalized for that.
I will say this. Growing up in El Paso, the guy who fixed your fence, the lady who would come and clean your house, whatever, they came from across the bridge.
Right.
Nobody cared. It was like, you know what? Lady wants $50 to clean the house. $50. She goes home. It's great. When it started to become an issue, I think, was when people saw, hey, I want to take part of the services.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I don't live here, but now that I'm over here, I would like this, and I would like this, and I would like this. And then people were like, well, hold on. You got to pay for that.
Right.
Because that's coming out of my taxes, so that's fine, but you need to sign up, and then you need to pay taxes as well. Otherwise, it's coming out of my pocket.
Yeah, exactly. You want us to educate your kids. You want us to...
Right. And then you get into the, do the wealthy pay tax? Or what percentage of it? Or what percentage of their income is it? Because really, Bill Gates pays a lot of tax, but then it's like, okay, but what kind of hit is that on him versus, maybe somebody else pays $300 in tax, but to them that's like, holy crap, $300.
Yeah, it's make or break for those.
Yeah, which is why I like the idea of the flat tax, and if I like the concept of the national sales tax, but people I've talked to, they're like, that kind of doesn't work. But I haven't really quite figured out why, other than the fact that maybe the government can then come in and go, well, we're going to do this also, and kind of that slippery slope thing. But I like the idea of, hey, if you don't make a lot of money, But you go buy a shirt, you pay sales tax. You make a
Right.
lot of money, you go buy a yacht, you're going to pay sales tax on that. That way we're all contributing for consumption.
Right.
But, again, they're like, well, we couldn't make up. We wouldn't have the tax base, I guess. But we're a consumer society. So I'm not bright enough to know, but I just like the thought behind that. But definitely everybody pay your fair share.
Right, yeah. I agree with that. And I think everybody should.
Yeah.
But that's a big problem we're having right now. So,
Well, because businesses are not paying taxes, they get tons of loopholes.
Yep.
And all of that. And does that money actually go to the employees? It doesn't. But then the argument is, well, because we have that money, we can keep you employed.
yeah. It goes to a bonus structure that goes to the CFO and the CEO and everybody
Right.
else. Yeah.
But, when Saturn was first a thing, they wanted to build a car plant in El Paso, and the mayor said no because they wanted too many tax breaks. He's like, well, we're going to lose this much money, but that's short term, but long term, it's okay. You've just employed 6,000 people. What's that going to do for the income of the city? Or for the city? Where are they going to spend that money in the city?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it seemed to me a little short-sighted. Like, hey, man, if somebody wants to come into town and put up a major factory and employ 6,000 people, cut them some breaks because you're going to make the money somewhere.
Yeah. You're going to have an influx of more people here, making money, paying back. Yeah. It's all related, yeah.
I don't know. But you're right. This is the time of year that everybody
Stresses about it.
Sure, because I'm stressed about it because I haven't done it in a while, and I don't know if I'll owe. I don't claim any deductions because I want the max taken out, so I don't end up owing.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just like, oh my God, I got to do that again.
Yeah,
And I don't want to pay
every
somebody to
year.
do it, and I don't know TurboTax. I guess I'll have to try that. You know what I feel right now, Brandon? I feel like this is the Phantom Menace of our podcast episodes. We're sitting here talking about one of the most boring things that neither one of us are really that clear on. We just do it every year.
Right.
So,
Do you still think we have taxation with
anybody
representation
listening?
at this point?
Taxation without representation?
Well, taxation without representation is why this whole thing started, right? So do you think we have representation? Is that a valid point?
we have representatives.
Yeah. Do they really represent us, though? Are they representing themselves nowadays?
I would say every politician represents themselves.
It is the Phantom Menace. We're living the Phantom Menace, my friend.
Well, here's the thing here's how I feel about politicians. They all lie. So you vote for the person who tells the lies that you like.
Right. The best liar.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this Republican's lying, but I believe in those things they're lying that they say they'll do, so I'll vote for them.
Right.
Same with the Democrat. Oh, those are my values. They won't do any of it, but I got to vote for that liar.
Yeah.
Because I really believe that at the end of it, they are out to serve themselves.
For sure.
I don't see that whole Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith goes to Washington idea of service.
Yeah.
If you haven't kept up with Designated Survivor much, have you?
No, I haven't.
That's kind of the thing that's coming to, here's Kiefer Sutherland, this kind of Mr. Smith president. It's like, no. That just doesn't happen in the real world anymore.
No, unfortunately not. Something like that would have to happen for that to happen in the real world.
It would, where you end up with like, wow, this is actually a normal guy, decent human being. But I think anybody who goes into politics, regardless of the party, has an agenda.
Of course, yeah. That's why they get into politics.
Yeah. And somebody, I think you said somebody tweeted us, or I don't know where it was, and said we should do Love to Hate Trump.
Right.
It's so easy.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of like a layup.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've always said respect the office. So I think the least that the president of the United States can do is respect the office as well.
Right.
Because it makes it tough. Now I can't say not my president or anything like that. He's the president of the country that I happen to live in, so he is my president. But God, that makes it really difficult when you're like, man, you really just don't give a shit, do you?
Right.
It's all kind of a joke.
Yeah, they were giving his daughter was interviewed recently, and she said something about like they were asking her about certain things, and she said, "Look, he's my dad, but he's also the president that the people voted for, so he's the president." And then Colbert came out and said, "Well, technically, people didn't vote for him; the Electoral College did, so it's a valid point."
Well, and then you get to, do you want the Electoral College or not?
Right.
Which, if you look at the reason for it, I think it still makes sense. because that means that some guy in Montana, his vote will mean nothing.
Right.
Because he just has, there's nobody in Montana.
Right.
So I understand the reason for the Electoral College. But, what does it matter if the Russians are helping?
So this is interesting. I didn't do my taxes yet, but I helped my daughter do hers because she had her first job last summer, so she had to.
Yeah,
do
she's working fast food, right?
Yeah, and I asked her. I was like, "Okay, so you ready to do this? They taught you about this at school, right?" She's like, "No, they didn't teach her anything."
No.
About this.
Did they teach you that stuff when you were in school?
Yeah, we had it. Well, it wasn't necessarily taxes, but it was how to manage your money and all these other things. So that should be, I think, personally, something that we teach our kids in school. How is that not something, as a taxpayer, I should be able to say, hey, this should be something that should be taught in schools. Let's teach our kids how to, number one, manage their money, how to do their taxes so they can be an adult when they get out of school. The fact that they're not teaching those things is crazy to me. I mean, what the hell are they teaching over there?
Well, and I think they rely on it. It's kind of like Zach said, hey, you got to teach that at home too, which is fine, but when you're sitting there saying, hey, you've got to take algebra, geometry, trig, it's like, could we do a business math course?
Right, yeah.
Could we teach, okay, this is how simple interest works. This is how you balance a checkbook. Which checkbooks don't even exist, but just some sort of financial math.
Right.
That's going to be much more useful to most students than, hey, I know how to do trigonometry.
Right.
Like, well, great, I'm going to use that on a daily basis. So I think there are a lot of life skills that they miss out on because they don't teach them those things.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that also has to be something that's done at home. You said this is her first year paying taxes?
Yeah.
What did she think when she saw the FICA column? Did she have any comments?
No, not really.
My daughter, when she got her first check, she looked at that and goes, shit. She goes, well, who got that? And
right.
Just like me, like, yeah, somebody explain this to me. It's like, okay, you're getting it, but just like justify this amount because I just busted my ass.
Right.
So who are you giving this to?
Yeah.
What's this going for? Am I going to use it? Because if not, I'm kind of pissed.
Right.
And I still very much feel that way.
Well, I think, that's the problem with the way that today's society is built. We're all very much online. Like you said, there's no checkbook anymore. You don't balance your checkbook. So everything is, you have an online account, you look at it. I think most people nowadays don't really know where their money goes, especially the millennials, new generation people, because they get their check, it goes in electronically. They spend money till they don't have any money anymore, and then they go, oh, okay, I'm overdrawn. Or, well, I got to look at it. Okay, I've only got $20 left. I got to stop spending. Whereas when you were, me and you were age, like in our 70s and 80s, you had to literally sit there and balance checkbook and go, okay, I've got this much. What do I still have to pay? You had to think about where your money went.
Right.
And they don't do that anymore. I
one thing I always thought would help people understand taxes and just how much you're getting screwed is give them their check in cash or give them their money in cash and then stand there and physically remove the tax dollars.
Right.
So like, wait, what? Wait, where are you taking that? Where's that going? And then to give you a better idea of like, well, wait a minute, what are we paying for? And there are certain things that, again, schools, public safety, I get all of that. But there seems to be a lot of stuff where you keep hearing, government spending, well, the government's going to do, like, well, wait a minute. You're basically talking about I'm paying for it because you get all your money from me.
Right.
So you're buying it, on my behalf? And if you look at the Constitution, where they kind of screw you is it talks about the things the government can tax for. But then it has this giant loophole called the General Welfare Clause,
right.
Or they can tax you for things in the General Welfare. Well, what is that exactly? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a bridge or a bus stop with your name on it because you've been a congressman for 57 years, and they're going to build this in your home state. Is that really what tax dollars should be going for?
Right.
God, what is the website?
That should come from their constituents.
It should. There's a nonpartisan website, I forget what it's called, something to do, but they basically look at pork spending in Congress, and they'll go through and show the worst offenders and where they add money to all these bills. And so you'll get this great noble bill like, hey, you shouldn't punch kids in the face. Well, yeah, I'm signing off on that bill. Yeah, you shouldn't punch little kids in the face. So everybody's going to sign off it. Oh, by the way, at the bottom, here's $2 million allotted to tattoo removal over in this state. And then you can go back to your constituent and go, I brought $2 million back into the state.
Right. Yeah.
And
that happens all the time.
Which is horseshit.
And that's where they're burying a lot of the anti-smoking clauses and stuff, too. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a great life lesson to do. I probably ought to do that with my daughter is take her check, say, okay, you get a check. Let's take the check. Let's put it in cash. And let's look at, this is what's going to go to the government. This is what's going to go to your car payment. This is what's going to go to your insurance. This is what's going to go to gas. This is what's going to go. This is what you have left. And this is what you have to budget for. Because if you don't see it in black and white like that, if you don't see it in front of you, you're not going to learn about what you're supposed to do with it.
Right.
And have you been to a hotel lately? You ever stayed in a hotel recently?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at the bill for a hotel?
They're insane.
The taxes are stupid.
Yes.
So I was staying over in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh,
and
those are horrible.
Yeah, so I get the bill from the Kansas City, Missouri. I was nowhere near the stadium. I'm staying completely on the other side of town.
But you're paying.
I got taxes for the stadium, taxes for parking, taxes for. I'm like, what the hell is all this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is? Like, well, we have to. The city requires us to put that on there. I'm like,
yeah,
that's stupid. Why? I'm paying for that. I'm visiting your town.
Kansas City, Missouri proper has a city tax of 1%.
Yeah.
So when I lived in KCMO, I paid federal, state, and city tax.
Wow.
Which sucked. That website I was talking about is Citizens Against Government Waste. And they have their 2016 Congressional Pig Book, which lists the worst offenders.
Nice.
So
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, maybe your congressman or representative is listed in there.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Somebody from Texas doing that? By the way, did you see that
yes.
Perry now has a seat on the National Security Council?
Yeah. Yes. He was going to get there some way, somehow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And even the picture they had of him in the paper, he just looked kind of derpy. Just like, yeah.
It's all connected, man, and it's all scary as hell right now. I mean,
it really is.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to change.
No, it's just going to get worse.
And as a consumer economy, it's all based on we go out and buy stuff. Again, not an economist, not really a math guy, but it just seems to me that if you put more money in my pocket, I'm going to go out and spend it more. Or if I'm wealthy and I get more money, I'll go buy more stocks, and that's good.
Right.
So maybe you should let me have more of my tax dollars.
Right.
But then it becomes, what do you cut? And I honestly think you could probably fund programs like Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, things like that. Again, you don't want some jackass on it. It's like, look, if you can play basketball, you're not really on disability. You're milking the system.
Right.
But there is a need for those social welfare programs, and I don't think we would have the problems funding them that we do if we didn't spend so much money on stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I always go back to the cable bill analogy.
Mm-hmm.
When I was trying to explain to my stepson, hey, how do you pay your bills? When you're out on your own. And it's rent, electric, and then everything after that.
Right.
Cable's down at the very bottom. And I think there's a lot of great stuff that the country does, but it's like, is that the cable bill? Is NASA basically the cable bill? I mean,
right.
Yeah, I like the space program, but do we really need to spend that money on it? I mean, you got private people doing it. And what's the last thing we got? I don't know. I haven't kept up. I don't know the last thing that we got out of the space program. I know Tang and Styrofoam and Velcro.
Right.
So other than that, I don't know. But I kind of view a lot of those things as, frivolous.
Yeah, extraneous. That's how the infrastructure was built, though. I mean, it's been that way for so long, and it's not something you're going to change. Not something in our lifetime, I think, that's going to change at all.
No.
And I don't, unless...
Not until the United Federation of Planets.
Right.
Which, if you think about it, Star Trek. Have we talked about that? Yeah. I don't know if we did that on air or not, but that's basically like socialism at work.
Right.
But, doing that in actual life is not as easy because you don't have a group of riders.
Yeah, true.
So maybe Gene Roddenberry should have ran for office.
Right.
Could have been something.
Yeah, you never know. I don't know. I mean, taxes, death and taxes, what? Those are the two constants in life.
Those are the two things guaranteed.
Yeah. So you're going to have to do them.
And even after death, they can still come after you for taxes.
Mm-hmm. Or your family.
Yeah. Yeah, the IRS is mean.
They are. We probably shouldn't release this episode. My name is Brandon Juan.
Yeah.
Josephness. Some other fake name.
Balake.
Right.
They And they talk about that's another reason we would never go to a flat tax, because it would involve getting rid of the IRS.
Right.
And right there, you're putting how many people out of work? And
At least 12.
Yeah. So they don't want that, because they're like, fuck no, we're protecting our jobs.
Right.
And anytime you have to justify your job, it's kind of like that scene in Office Space where he's like, well, no, I take my secretary takes them over to the developer. So what would you say you do here? God damn it, I told you I'm a people person.
Right.
You know, a lot of times it's, okay, yeah, your job serves a purpose, but then sometimes it's, you really, we don't need you, do we? And I think we could kind of do that with the IRS. So they're kind of sitting there saying, no, this is why you got to have us.
Yeah, the government's always got to protect their own. I mean, they're gonna put that on us before they lose jobs.
Oh yeah, they don't. They're not going to pass anything that says you get rid of the IRS, because then those, like I said, those people are unemployed, and they're going to make sure they keep a job.
Yeah.
Which that's not a good justification to me.
That includes lifetime insurance for free and all the other good stuff that goes along with it. 50% of your pay for the rest of your life.
Shit.
Yeah. We're paying for that. We're all paying for that.
You could run for Congress, get one term, and you're on the boat. You're on the gravy boat.
Yeah. That's crazy to me. I mean, it should be crazy
and you're
to everybody.
Right. No, it is. And yeah, you're right. We continue to pay for it. It's like, well, what were you doing before you ran for Congress? Well, go back to selling real estate.
Yeah.
Go back to selling insurance. Go back to
being a lawyer, like most of them were. So
yeah, that's true.
Or
go back to being a shitty reality show host.
Right.
Yeah, that was a little pointed.
Yeah, it was.
So, wow.
So what do you? So let me ask. So your taxes are going to change.
Are you as bored with this episode as I am?
Your taxes are going to change though when you become single.
Yeah, they will.
Now, do you have any?
Because I don't make as much.
Do you have any recall of? Did you get more? Did you pay more when you were single? Did you get more back? So you owed when you were single?
No. I would usually get money back
when you were single.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get to go back to that, which is nice.
Yeah. When I was married, no, we ended up owing.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm taking a substantial pay cut.
Right.
Which will no doubt be worth it, but
in the long run.
In the long run. But no, I mean, it was dual income family. She has the nice corporate job, and so we got taxed accordingly.
Right.
The idea of what our combined income was, that some people would say, well, you're wealthy, I would scoff.
Right.
Be like, yeah, I know on paper it looks like a nice number, but when you break it down, there's, we spend a lot too, not just on frivolous stuff, but there's the food, clothing, shelter aspect of it.
Right.
So that's when I kind of get worried when people are like, well, hey, this guy makes six figures. It's like, and has 4 kids and a mortgage and insurance, and maybe the kid breaks a leg, something like that, college to pay for.
Everything
it's like that doesn't mean they're wealthy.
Right.
So I'm hesitant to just throw some 6-figure income out and go, well, that guy's got it made.
Right.
It depends, because it costs a lot to have a family.
It does.
And, and again, you can't fault somebody saying, hey, we want to have a big family. Okay, as long as you can feed them, great.
Mm-hmm.
But it does cost a lot. But then, you get your Warren Buffett and your Bill Gates, it's like, yeah, nothing's going to hurt them.
Yeah, true. That's the way it is, man. All right, so we both got to do our taxes, which sucks.
Yeah, you want to do mine? I'll do yours?
No. I'm good. All right.
Hey, kids, so if you're still listening...
Wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
Next episode.
I was going to say text us, but we don't give out our numbers. But reach out to us on Twitter or our Facebook page and tell us your tax experiences, or if you know a good CPA.
Right.
Anything like that.
Johnny Two Shoes, who gives you all the deductions and everything.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Well, yeah, just look, if they ask, just tell them everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
What's this deduction right now? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Did it for a guy last year. It's great. Yeah, I probably do. Well, I don't want to pay a CPA. My taxes are going to be pretty simple. So.
Right.
Anyway, if they want to go back and listen to episodes that might be a little more exciting, where would they find those?
Well, you could go to iTunes and listen to us there and subscribe, please. You can go to iHeartRadio, which is fantastic and great because we love being on there. You could also go to Spreaker, and don't forget to check out our Facebook page. And you mentioned the Twitter already.
Yep, and all of those sites tax free, kids. So
right.
Eat them up.
You're probably getting taxes on your internet bill, but yeah.
Oh, well, so much for that.
Haven't even looked at that. There's probably all kinds of shit in there.
Oh, my God. That's a topic for another time. Right. Thanks for sticking around, kids. We'll talk to you next week.
Goodbye.